Welcome back to Buff-A-Touille in Gajul. Today we're going to make a Swedish dessert that I grew up eating for the holidays. First off, we're going to show you a few different ways that you can eat it, which are going to be a little bit different than the way I grew up eating it, but I think they might be a little better for today. So let's take a look at those. All right, so now that you've seen a few different variants, the ways you can eat this delicious dish, it's called Grape Krem. Grape Krem literally, I believe, just means grape cream. It's a Swedish dish that my grandmother made all the time for Christmas, and I also used to make as a tradition. There's not a lot of information out there on the internet on grape creme, and those that are out there all serve it different ways. But the way I grew up was with tapioca in it. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. For those of you in the family that grew up with this, I have sad news. Welch's frozen grape concentrate was discontinued in 2019, and that was one of the core ingredients. So we have had to make a slight change to that today and use Welch's 100% grape Concord juice, and consequently the recipe looks a little bit different than Grandma's. Okay, so we want to start out with a pan that we're going to warm all these ingredients up together real slowly, stirring constantly. But I have 2.5 cups of Welch's grape juice. We'll go ahead and add that and spill all over the counter. So I'll go ahead and clean that up, and we'll see you in a second. All right, so now that we got that cleaned up, it's time to put in our next ingredient. So we'll go ahead and put in the 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 cup of sugar, now one of the next ingredients is that tapioca. We're using this minute tapioca. It's already been pre-cooked. So with that, I did have to add just a little bit extra tapioca to Grandma's recipe, just because I think the difference in the frozen grape juice versus the regular grape juice. So we have a 1/3 cup of quick cooking minute tapioca from Kraft. And the last thing is we need a tablespoon of lemon juice. I'm going to freshly squeeze a lemon, get a tablespoon out of that. Then after that, we'll add it to the stove. All right, now that we've got the rest of the ingredients put in there, we've got it over low heat. We want to stir it continuously, which is going to take a while, but we want to bring it to a boil over low heat. Rumor is that everything will scorch if we go too hot too fast. So this stirring is probably the worst part of this whole thing, because it takes a really long time to get to a boil over low heat. So we're going to go ahead and get this to a boil, and we'll see you in a minute. All right, so we have been stirring for about 25 minutes at a low to medium heat. We've been curious about what the boiling point is. So 100% pure grape juice boils at 66 Celsius or about 151 Fahrenheit. This is currently starting to boil about a 185 with the sugar and salt and all the stuff in it, but it is really thickened up. I don't know if you can see here. I'll pull another spoonful. So the next step here, I'm going to take this off because we're starting to boil. Got to get off the heat, so we'll pull it off the stove and we'll put it into another container. All right, so I like to put it into a glass bowl. I don't know why, it's traditional, I guess. But you can see really what this looks like with the tapioca. The tapioca will continue to expand as it cools and absorbs more of that moisture. It's very sticky. It smells delicious. If you love grape, oh, this is like grape heaven right now. But I will tell you, when it's time to eat it, it's very rich. So a little bit goes a long ways. We'll see you when it's cool. I guess one question is, do you put this in your refrigerator or do you just leave it out? I usually just leave it out because I want the heat of the liquid to soak into the tapioca. So if you're gonna wait to eat it until tomorrow, put it in the refrigerator, but I would wait at least half an hour, maybe a little bit longer before you do that. All right, so now we're super excited. This grape creme has been resting, cooling down for about an hour and a half or so. It's about room temperature. So traditionally, like I said, we used to eat this over rice pudding. I never really liked rice pudding myself. The rest of the family did. But I used to like to eat this just plain. But for some people, that might just be a little too much. However, I have some recommendations here for how this is also really delicious. So I'm going to sample each of those and show you. The first one I'm going to show you is a club cracker with mascarpone and grape creme. So you could eat this as an appetizer or as a dessert afterwards. It's very subtle. It has a dessert flavor, but it's not overpowering. So you could definitely eat several of these. The plate that I put together here would be really nice to prepare something like that if you're adept to do so. The next one here, which is also pretty good, is a Ritz cracker with mascarpone and grape creme. That's really good. This is really buttery and creamy. It just works very well with the grape flavor. The next one, which I'm really excited about, is some angel food cake. You could also use sponge cake. We've got some Cool Whip and some grape creme on that as well. I'm actually going to add a little bit more because some of it fell off. I love angel food cake. Once again, it is also delicate yet sweet, but not overpowering. And now, the way that I grew up eating it as a child, I love grape, especially Welch's grape. It is a real special thing to have. So, that's really good. I like what we did for adding the tapioca just to make it a little bit thicker, a little less runny. It's not as overpowering that way. So I guess my question to you is, what are ways that you're familiar with eating grape creme where you've had it before? So we'd love it if you added to the comments some of the different ways you could see yourself eating this, or if you've had other ways growing up. So with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us today on another Buff-A-Touille experience.